debunk. And I'm debunking Seth the Programmer, Cell vs. Saitama. Now, I just want to start this video off by saying Seth the Programmer is the worst YouTuber ever. He's a crappy, sorry excuse for a power scaler, and I hate him as a person. Saitama is obviously a limitless gag character that can one-shot anything in all of fiction. He is omnipotent plus. No, I'm just kidding. I only have a few things that I disagreed with in his video. And, I have my good friend, Death, here, and we're doing our take on it.
Hello there, I'm Death, and I'll be doing the Saitama calculations.
Yeah, and I'll be doing the cell calculations. Now, here, Death, why don't you get us started?
As you can see here, Saitama was sort of clobbered by Boros' meteoric burst, so you can't be saying he isn't a limitless gag character, unless you guys want to include Boros, but as we know he isn't. It also states here that Boros surpassed his limits and is now a Starbuster. As you can see, Saitama wanted to show a feat here and jump from the moon to the earth in 1.5 seconds. Keep in mind that Saitama was only using 1%, and Saitama also can't breathe in space. Now, it was 384 kilometers since when Saitama jumped from the moon to the earth. And also, the gravitational pull on the moon was weaker than on Earth, so it was easy for Saitama to pull this one off, in my case. Now, as I said before, 1%, but Teelan might have something to say about that from some fans.
Yeah, I've talked to numerous not numerous, but I've talked to a few One Punch Man fans. Most of them just slap on limitless gag character and say he one-shots anything. But one fan said that he used about 3% against Boros, not 1%. So 1% is a bit of a wink. But, you know, you have to wink Saitama, right? Or else your video sucks, right? So yeah, he's 1%, Starbuster at 1%, he beat a Starbuster. So that would put him about around 100 times star level, like I said, if you wank him. And also that moon to the earth feat, as Death pointed out, was at 1%, plus moon gravity is weaker, so you could make the argument that he wouldn't, because that speed was only relativistic, it wasn't actually light speed, it was slightly under the speed of light. But if you wank him and say that was the speed of light, you'd also have to wank him and say that the jumping from the moon to the earth was the same as jumping from the earth to the moon, which isn't the case. But yeah, now let's move on to the Cell calculations. Now, Cell is confirmed a solar system buster. And before you say, that's just a statement, it's confirmed in all the guides, and the first thing you get when you look up solar system buster is Cell. So yeah, he is a solar system buster. Now, how strong is that compared to Saitama's strength? Well, a lowballed solar system buster is about 25.918 times a starbuster, or about 26 times. Or if you want to lowball Cell, because you have to lowball Dragon Ball and highball One Punch Man, and you say that he's only 25 times star level. A highballed solar system buster would be about 63.677 times a starbuster. So that's about how strong he is. So you could even lowball and say half. He's 50 times star level. And now on to Cell's hacks, which is one thing that also makes this fight pretty interesting. It's Cell's regeneration. Cell regenerated from only one cell cluster in his head, or I think it was actually one cell, depending on which manga scan you go by, or if you want to go by the anime. So as long as one cell in his head survives, he should be able to survive.
Also, if you're thinking that if you punch Cell's head that it'll immediately explode and Cell can't regenerate, don't forget that in one of the episodes in Dragon Ball, that Cell regenerated completely even though half of his body was obliterated by Goku.
Yeah, and so, yeah, if you think you can just pop Cell's head and be done, no. And along with the whole he can regenerate from one cell in his head thing, that's an outlier. No, Piccolo, his cells come from Piccolo, and in the Buu Saga, Piccolo showed something very similar when he got turned to stone and Goten and Trunks accidentally shattered his body, and he went back to normal. He turned back to normal Namekian flesh and regenerated. So yeah, get that out of here. Now let's move on to his speed, which is where things get a bit more, what would you call this?
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a bit interesting. Now, we're gonna have to do some scaling from Piccolo. Now, back in the beginning of Z, right, he obliterated the moon in about a second. You could say it was about 3 seconds, but then I just make the argument that Piccolo was holding back severely, because he saw the moon and instantly threw his hand up and obliterated it. He literally thoughted the moon, okay? And here's the calculations, more in depth, but basically Goku scales to this Piccolo. They're around equal, and he goes to train off with King Kai, and then he also trains with under 100 times gravity, attains Super Saiyan, and does a lot more training. And then Super Saiyan Gohan scales to Mastered Super Saiyan Gohan scales to Mastered Super Saiyan Goku. Goku actually stated, and it was shown, that Mastered Super Saiyan Gohan was stronger than Goku at that point. And then Cell, after getting completely dominated by Gohan, ends up regenerating because a few of his cells survived, and then he regenerated stronger than ever, right? So, yeah, so he becomes relative to Gohan. Gohan was still obviously stronger / faster, because every time your ki multiplies, it multiplies all stats. Power, speed, durability, all of that, right? So yeah, Gohan, and by Cell by extension, because I didn't leave a lot of calculations. Like, I didn't say how Goku, how Gohan got a rage boost. I mentioned he got a rage boost in these calculations, but I didn't say exactly how much stronger that made him. But you could essentially say that Cell would be that Gohan minus the rage boost. So if because Gohan got a rage boost and then went Super Saiyan 2. So you could say Cell would be equal to that Gohan just going Super Saiyan 2 without the rage boost. And no one would fault you for that. So, the end results. Saitama is about between 3.8568 times stronger than Cell, or 1.57 times stronger, depending on which solar system calc you use. Now, Cell would be 10,000 times faster than Saitama. Like I said, Cell would be 1,000,000 times faster than light, while Saitama would only be 100 times faster. So actually, Death, why don't you say how you picture this going first?
Well, let's just say if you tried to race a cockroach 10,000 times your speed, and then you wanted to fight it, right? But here's the thing, let's say you hit the cockroach. Oh my god, look at that, it's still alive because it can regenerate. So imagine fighting just a giant green cockroach 10,000 times faster than you, and you're about 10,000 times slower than him. That's like, you're basically going slow motion to him. That's how I put it.
Yeah, and not only that, but if you completely pop Cell's body, just like he did against Gohan, he might just be able to after he regenerates, he might just get a Zenkai. So yeah, and also, something important to bring up too is Cell has an ability where after he gets all of this damage, right? Say he gets his head popped off and then his body gets blown off and he regenerates, and then he gets bullied some more, even though I'd argue, like Death said, Saitama wouldn't be able to touch him. Like, how are you supposed to touch something 10,000 times faster than you? But let's just say he can, right? Let's say he does what he did against Gohan and swelled himself up like a balloon. and blows up the planet. If Cell were to hit Saitama and blow him up again, the planet would go with him, as stated by Cell. And then Saitama, as we went over earlier, cannot breathe in space. So after Cell self-destructs and blows up the planet and himself and Saitama, Cell would regenerate, possibly getting a Zenkai, and Saitama would be left in space to suffocate. And that would be GG. Cell would regenerate. And keep in mind, Cell has Frieza cells, and Frieza can breathe in space. So after he blows up the Earth, he regenerates. He'll be just fine. He'll probably just go to another planet to wipe out, kind of like some Frieza stuff. Become the ruler of a galaxy or something. I don't know. But yeah, so that's my take on it. He wouldn't be able to touch Cell, but he would be stronger. And even if he does touch Cell, Cell could regenerate. So yeah. Anything else you want to add, Death?
Well, you also have to put into fact that you can't see something that's that fast.
Oh yeah, and also, I forgot to mention, after Cell regenerated, he was able to use Goku's instant transmission technique, which is teleportation. So even if Saitama had the chance before, Cell could easily react to any of his punches, and even if he can't dodge, say Cell got sloppy or something, he could easily instant transmission out of the way. So yeah, that's the video. Our quote-unquote debunk of Seth the Programmer. Pretty cool dude, but yeah, his calculation, he said that a solar system buster was like over 1,000 times a star buster, so yeah, that's not the correct calculation. Oh, and also Death is starting a channel soon, and subscribe when it comes out. I'll probably, when his channel comes out, I'll put a link in the description.